Twin souls. The identity theft that lasted 10 years, only one of them knows the truth. Imagine waking from your own grave. After 10 years trapped in a foreign prison for a crime you did not commit, a mysterious abduction saves you. Your face is altered, your hair cut short, your identity rebuilt completely. You are placed back into your own family, but as someone else, your own brother's life. Yet here is the devastating question that will haunt you. Which brother is the real thief? Is the other one truly dead? And who orchestrated this divine intervention involving angels, reincarnation, and a mother speaking from beyond the veil? This is the investigation that will shatter everything you thought you knew about loyalty, betrayal, and a 1,000-year-old curse. The fortune, the twins, and the beginning of betrayal. Everything started with fortune. Nothing extraordinary in the world of the ultra-wealthy, you might think, but this inheritance carried a different weight entirely. A mother who had passed away, leaving a monumental estate to her two identical twin sons, Gabriel and Raphael, two men who appeared physically indistinguishable, but whose similarity was merely the surface of a soul war that transcended this lifetime. Gabriel and Raphael were born on the same day, in the same hospital room, in an exclusive private clinic in São Paulo. From birth, they shared absolutely everything. The same clothing, the same friends, even the same girlfriends in several embarrassing situations. But there exists something between twins that neither can fully explain. A constant gnawing envy that poisoned their relationship like slow-acting venom. Do you trust someone who is precisely identical to you? Because when you look at that person, you are staring into a mirror that breathes and thinks. Their mother, Constanza, was a woman of extraordinary wealth. Widowed for many years, she had accumulated her fortune through meticulous real estate ventures and carefully calculated investments. Their father, Henrique, had died when the twins were merely 15 years old. From that moment forward, Constanza worked relentlessly, dedicating every waking hour to building a legacy worthy of her sons. But Constanza was a spiritual woman. She believed deeply in reincarnation. She believed in cycles of souls across lifetimes, and she had shared something profoundly troubling with her most trusted confidant, the household manager, Maria, before she died. Her twin sons were souls that had been hunting each other across centuries, and she harbored deep fear about what would transpire when money became involved in their eternal struggle. This conversation would never be forgotten by Maria. When Constanza died at 72 years old, from a sudden stroke in her private study, the news reached the twins like lightning. Gabriel was in London, closing an import-export negotiation. Raphael was in São Paulo, managing their family properties. The will reading was scheduled for 1 week after the funeral service. Here is where you must pay careful attention to every detail. The medical documentation surrounding Constanza's death appeared absolutely routine. Heart failure, the physicians declared. All paperwork properly filed. Nothing suspicious on any surface. But Maria, the household manager with 30 years of service, observed something that nobody else detected. In the months before her death, Constanza had arranged secret meetings with an attorney that nobody in the family knew existed, a man named Dr. Silvio Costa, a specialist in hereditary matters and family secrets among the wealthy elite. And Raphael knew about these meetings. The will reading and the perfect deception. The will reading took place on a Tuesday afternoon in the offices of Dr. Costa himself. A mahogany conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the São Paulo skyline. Present were Gabriel, freshly returned from London looking exhausted from travel. Raphael, appearing calm and composed. Maria, the household manager, sitting respectfully in the corner as a witness. And Dr. Costa himself, a man in his 60s with calculating eyes that missed nothing. Gabriel settled into his chair and exchanged a quick glance with Raphael. For the first time in weeks, they were in the same room. The tension between them was palpable, like electricity before a storm arrives. Dr. Costa opened the leather folder before him with deliberate slowness. He adjusted his glasses and began speaking in his formal, measured tone. Your mother's final testament was executed 3 months ago, amended from her original will dated 15 years prior. There were significant changes made. Gabriel leaned forward. Significant changes. What kind of changes? He and Raphael had always believed the inheritance would be split equally between them. It was what their mother had always said, 50-50, a clean division. Dr. Costa continued, the new will designates that Raphael receives 95% of all liquid assets, all property holdings, and controlling shares in the family's investment portfolio. Gabriel receives 5%. The distribution becomes effective immediately upon proper documentation and facial recognition biometric verification for all major account transfers. The room seemed to stop. Gabriel felt his ears ringing. I apologize. What? Gabriel said, his voice hollow. There must be a mistake. Mother would never. Raphael's face remained completely expressionless. He did not move. He did not react. This suspicious stillness should have been Gabriel's first warning. This unnatural calm was the behavior of a man who already knew exactly what was coming. There is no mistake, Dr. Costa said, sliding documents across the mahogany table toward Gabriel. Your mother was very specific in her final instructions. She expressed concerns about your financial stability, your failed business ventures in London, your pattern of poor investment decisions. She felt confident that Raphael possessed superior judgment regarding wealth management. Maria watched from her corner seat, and Gabriel saw something in her eyes. Recognition, as if she had suspected this possibility all along. Gabriel looked at Raphael directly. Did you know about this? Raphael met his gaze steadily. Of course not. This is as much a shock to me as it is to you. But it was the slightest pause before his response that revealed the lie. Gabriel caught it. 1 second of hesitation. 1 moment where Raphael's eyes flickered away before returning to him. I want to contest this, Gabriel said immediately. I want independent verification. I want... Your mother anticipated your reaction, Dr. Costa interrupted smoothly. She has provided extensive documentation detailing her reasoning. Additionally, all major transfers require biometric facial recognition verification. This is a security measure she insisted upon to prevent fraud. Facial recognition. Gabriel filed this detail away. Why would his mother suddenly insist on facial recognition for transfers? In all his life, she had never mentioned such concerns about security fraud. I need time to review these documents, Gabriel said. I want my own legal counsel present. I want... Of course, Dr. Costa replied. Take all the time you require. However, please understand that the verification process must begin within 72 hours, or the funds enter a frozen holding status pending court resolution. 72 hours. A pressure tactic. Gabriel was too shocked, too confused to process what was truly happening. He agreed to return in 3 days with his own lawyer. Raphael said nothing. His silence screamed volumes. What Gabriel did not know was that during those 3 days, Raphael was already in motion. Because the facial recognition requirement was not his mother's idea. It was Raphael's brilliant addition to the plan. Raphael had spent months researching identity fraud technology. Facial recognition systems could be manipulated. With the right software, the right tools, a person could be verified as someone they were not. Raphael had already installed specialized software on the banking system servers, software that he had purchased from a criminal technology syndicate operating out of Eastern Europe, software that would allow him to mask his face as Gabriel's face during biometric verification, software that would then transfer the remaining 95% into accounts that Raphael had secretly established in cryptocurrency exchanges across multiple countries. On the morning of the scheduled verification, Gabriel arrived at the bank with his lawyer, a respected attorney named Marcelo Silva. They were ushered into a private office where a bank representative explained the process. Simple, quick, just look into the facial recognition camera, allow the system to verify your identity, approve the transfer of your 5% allocation. Gabriel completed the process without hesitation. The camera scanned his face. The system verified his identity. He signed the paperwork transferring his 5% inheritance into a family account. What Gabriel did not see were the additional transfers happening simultaneously in the background. Raphael, using the spoofed facial recognition software from his location across the city, was having his face displayed in the camera as Gabriel's face. The system, fooled by the technology, was simultaneously verifying Raphael's face as Gabriel's face, and transfers totaling 95% of their mother's entire fortune were flowing into Raphael's hidden accounts. By the time Gabriel left the bank, $45 million had left the family accounts forever. Gabriel did not realize the catastrophe for another week. when the second phase of Raphael's plan activated. When Raphael, accessing accounts that he had set up under Gabriel's identity, using facial recognition fraud, began making purchases and transactions that would create a perfect paper trail pointing directly toward Gabriel as the thief. Unauthorized international wire transfers, purchases of luxury items with instant resale to money laundering operations, deposits into accounts associated with organized crime syndicates in Brazil and Paraguay. All done using Gabriel's biometric facial verification. All done while Gabriel was sleeping, working, living his normal life completely unaware that his brother had stolen his identity as thoroughly as he had stolen his inheritance. Then came the arrest. The arrest. 10 years of hell in a foreign prison. Federal agents arrived at Gabriel's apartment at 6 o'clock in the morning. 3 vehicles, 10 officers in tactical gear. His door was broken down. He was sleeping when they pulled him from his bed, threw him against the wall and read him his rights in a blur of shouting and chaos. The charges were staggering. Money laundering, international fraud, conspiracy with organized crime syndicates, wire fraud across multiple countries, cryptocurrency theft. The list seemed endless. The evidence appeared overwhelming. Gabriel kept insisting on his innocence. He kept explaining that he had no idea how these transactions had occurred. He kept demanding to speak to his lawyer. But the facial recognition verification records were irrefutable. The biometric data proved definitively that Gabriel had authorized every transfer. The system had verified his face on multiple occasions, confirming his identity beyond question. What Gabriel did not understand, what nobody understood, was that Raphael had manipulated those records. Raphael had inserted himself into the biometric verification logs. Raphael had created digital fingerprints that appeared to be Gabriel's authentication, but were actually his own spoofed identity passing through the system. The evidence was perfect, flawlessly perfect, impossibly perfect. Gabriel's lawyer, Marcelo Silva, fought hard. He petitioned for independent forensic analysis of the biometric records. He argued that facial recognition technology could be manipulated. He presented expert witnesses who testified about spoofing vulnerabilities in deepfake technology. But Raphael had been thorough. He had covered his tracks meticulously. The cryptocurrency exchanges where the money had gone were untraceable. The shell companies were buried under layers of corporate structures. The money launderers were professional criminals who would never testify. The trial lasted 4 months. The verdict came back guilty on all counts. Gabriel received 15 years in a federal prison in Curitiba, but his nightmare was only beginning, because 6 months into his sentence, he made a critical discovery that would consume the next decade of his life. He saw a news article on a television in the prison recreation room, an article about Raphael. Raphael had been arrested at his penthouse in São Paulo, not for fraud, not for identity theft, not for embezzlement. Raphael had been arrested for drug trafficking. Federal agents had discovered massive quantities of cocaine and heroin stashed throughout his luxury apartment. Raphael was now facing 40 years in prison for narcotics trafficking. Gabriel's mind raced with impossible questions. Where had Raphael obtained drugs? Why would he risk such catastrophic consequences? Raphael had already stolen $50 million. He could have disappeared to any country on earth. He could have lived in luxury and anonymity for the rest of his life. Unless Raphael was not the only one involved in the criminal enterprise. Unless there was someone else pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone powerful enough to frame Gabriel for fraud. Someone connected enough to manage a drug trafficking operation simultaneously. But who? For the next 10 years, Gabriel sat in his prison cell in Curitiba, obsessing over this question. He had time. He had nothing but time. Years and years of empty hours where he could do nothing but think about betrayal. Think about how thoroughly he had been destroyed. Think about how Raphael was somehow even more destroyed than he was. Because Raphael, despite his fortune and his freedom, was also imprisoned. Raphael was trapped in the federal penitentiary in São Paulo, serving concurrent sentences that would keep him locked away until he was in his 70s. Pause here and consider, who else could have orchestrated such an elaborate frame? Who would have the resources and connections to set up a drug trafficking operation? Who would benefit from destroying both brothers simultaneously? 10 years passed in this purgatory. 10 years of cell blocks and prison food. 10 years of violence and danger. 10 years of Gabriel maintaining his dignity while other inmates discovered he was innocent. Because word travels in prison. Word about frame jobs. Word about elaborate schemes. Gabriel became known as the man who was betrayed by his own twin. Then came the day that changed everything. The day when men who were definitely not prison guards entered his cell block. They were professional, methodical. They moved with the confidence of people who operated outside the normal rules of law enforcement or prison administration. They did not speak. They simply gestured for Gabriel to follow them. Gabriel, terrified but somehow also relieved, complied. Maybe this was the moment of reckoning. Maybe this was the moment when the truth would finally be revealed. The men led him to a prisoner transport vehicle. They drove for 4 hours through the Brazilian countryside. Gabriel was blindfolded the entire journey. He had no idea where he was being taken or what was about to happen. Then the vehicle stopped. The blindfold was removed. Gabriel found himself in a small house, rural, remote, far from any city. Inside the house were 2 chairs facing each other, a mirror, a sink, razors, hair clippers, professional hair-cutting equipment. One of the men spoke for the first time. "You are going to have your appearance changed completely. Your hair will be cut short and dyed. Your beard will be shaved. Your face will be altered cosmetically with minor procedures. You will receive new clothing, new documentation, everything necessary to become someone else." "What is happening?" Gabriel asked, his voice shaking. "Who are you?" "That does not matter," the man replied. "What matters is that you are about to be given something you did not believe possible. A second life, a return to your family, a restoration of your stolen future." Gabriel felt tears streaming down his face. "I do not understand. Why would anyone do this? Who sent you?" The man did not answer. He simply nodded, and the other men began Gabriel's transformation. They cut away his long prison hair. They shaved his beard. They applied cosmetic procedures to subtly alter his facial structure. They gave him clothes that fit properly. They showed him a mirror. The man looking back was a stranger. Not Gabriel, not quite Raphael either. Someone new, someone reborn. The return, a stranger in his own life. Gabriel was returned to São Paulo at night. The men drove him to his family's estate, the property that he had not seen in over a decade. The sprawling mansion with its marble fountains and immaculate gardens looked exactly as he remembered it. Yet everything felt foreign, like a dream he was experiencing for the first time. The men guided him to the front entrance and simply left him there. No explanation, no further instruction. Gabriel stood alone before his own childhood home, transformed physically but mentally still the same confused, betrayed man who had been dragged from prison hours earlier. He rang the doorbell. Maria, the household manager who had been there since before the twins were born, opened the door. Her face went completely white. For a long moment she said nothing. She simply stared at the stranger standing before her. "Señor Raphael?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Is that you?" Gabriel almost corrected her. He was about to say his name. He was about to explain the entire situation, but something stopped him. Some instinct, some survival mechanism that told him silence was safety. He nodded slowly. Maria embraced him, tears streaming down her face. "Thank God. Thank God you are home. Your family has been so worried. After the drug charges, after the conviction, we thought you would be in prison for decades." Gabriel felt his heart accelerate. Raphael was in prison? Raphael had been convicted? This was crucial information. Information he had suspected but never confirmed during his years locked away. "How long?" Gabriel asked carefully, keeping his voice neutral. 8 years now," Maria said, leading him inside. "The trial was 2 years after your arrest. The evidence was overwhelming. Cocaine found in your penthouse, large quantities. The federal agent said you were connected to major trafficking operations across South America." Gabriel's mind raced. The drug charges. Raphael had been arrested for drug trafficking. But was Raphael actually guilty? Or had someone else orchestrated this as well? Was Raphael another victim of a larger conspiracy? "Where is my family?" Gabriel asked. "My other siblings? They are sleeping. It is very late. But they will be overjoyed to see you tomorrow morning. You know how excited they always become when—" Maria trailed off, looking at Gabriel's transformed face more carefully. "You look different," she said slowly. "Your hair, your facial structure. Have you had procedures done?" "Prison changes people," Gabriel said quietly. "I needed to change myself, to survive." Maria nodded, accepting this explanation. She did not push further. She simply showed him to a guest room, indicating that he should rest. Tomorrow would be the real challenge. That night, Gabriel lay in bed, unable to sleep. He was back in his family's house. He was free from prison, but he was trapped in an impossible deception. If he revealed his true identity, he would destroy whatever chance he had at reclaiming his life. The court record showed Gabriel as a convicted fraudster and money launderer, Gabriel as a criminal, Gabriel as someone untrustworthy. But if he continued this deception, if he continued pretending to be Raphael, he would be living a lie. He would be stealing his brother's identity the same way his brother had stolen his. Were they not both victims? Were they not both destroyed by someone else's plan? The next morning, Gabriel met with his remaining siblings. There were 4 of them. Patricia, 42 years old, who managed the family's real estate holdings. Antonio, 39 years old, who worked in investment banking. Lucia, 35 years old, who ran a charitable foundation. And Marcelo, 32 years old, who was still pursuing his degree. All 4 stared at Gabriel with confusion and concern. "Raphael," Patricia said carefully, "Mother has informed us that you have been released from prison on some kind of rehabilitation program. We were not expecting you home quite so soon." "Conditional early release," Gabriel said, repeating the story that the men who rescued him had apparently prepared for the family. "Excellent behavior. Program completion. I was given the opportunity to return home under supervision." But Patricia was studying his face too carefully. She was the oldest. She had known both brothers her entire life. She had watched them grow up. She knew their mannerisms, their voices, their subtle differences despite their identical appearance. "You seem different," Patricia said. "Not just your appearance, your manner, your way of speaking. It is as if you have become someone else entirely." Gabriel felt panic rising in his throat. The deception was already failing. His sister was too perceptive. "Prison changes a man," Gabriel said again, the same response he had given Maria. "I spent 8 years thinking about who I was, who I wanted to be. I decided I did not want to be the man I was before." Lucia, the charitable foundation director, said softly, "Well, whoever you are now, we are just happy to have you home. Raphael, you have been given a second chance, a gift that very few people receive. Please do not squander it." If only she knew how true those words were. Gabriel had literally been given a second chance, a physical resurrection, a return from the grave. Over the following weeks, Gabriel settled into his new life. He learned the details of Raphael's businesses and investments from company files and financial records. He studied Raphael's handwriting to forge signatures if necessary. He learned Raphael's favorite foods, his preferred wine, his daily routines. But there was one person he did not encounter, the other family members who might have known Raphael more intimately. Because Raphael had been in prison, Raphael had been isolated. Raphael had not built real relationships with his siblings over the past 8 years. This made Gabriel's deception significantly easier. However, a new mystery was forming. Gabriel began investigating who had orchestrated his rescue. Who had the resources to extract him from a federal prison? Who had the connections to set up the facial recognition fraud against him? Who had orchestrated Raphael's drug trafficking arrest? Gabriel hired private investigators. He paid enormous sums of money to uncover the truth. And what he discovered was shocking. There was no clear conspiracy, no single mastermind, no obvious villain pulling strings from the shadows. Pause here and consider. Could there be multiple people involved? Could the conspiracy be far more complex than a single orchestrator? Could it be that different people committed different crimes for different reasons? Gabriel followed financial trails. He discovered that Raphael had indeed been involved with organized crime syndicates. Raphael had truly been trafficking drugs. The evidence was not fabricated. Raphael was actually guilty of those charges. But the fraud scheme? The facial recognition spoofing? The theft of the inheritance? Gabriel could find no evidence that Raphael had orchestrated these crimes either. It was as if someone else had committed these crimes while making it appear that Gabriel had done them. Someone with technical expertise, someone with access to banking systems, someone who had been paid enormous sums of money, someone who was now either dead or completely untraceable. The mystery deepened rather than resolved itself. Then Gabriel made a discovery that changed everything. While reviewing financial records from the estate, he found a series of transfers made 8 years ago, large transfers to an account that had been closed. The transfers had been made by someone with administrative access to the family accounts, someone with authority over the family finances, someone who worked for the family. Gabriel called for Maria to come to his study. The confession. Maria knows more than she revealed. Maria entered the study hesitantly. Gabriel gestured for her to sit in the chair across from his mahogany desk. She appeared nervous, sensing that something significant was about to unfold. "Maria, I need to ask you about something," Gabriel said carefully, keeping his voice steady and measured. "During the time when my mother was ill before she passed away, did she mention anything unusual about our finances? About Dr. Costa? About the will?" Maria's face went pale. She looked down at her hands, and Gabriel saw genuine fear in her expression. Fear was the telltale sign of someone who knew more than they had revealed. "Senor Rafael, I do not think you should ask me these questions," Maria said quietly. "Some things are better left in the past. Some secrets are meant to stay buried. I'm not asking for your opinion about what should remain buried," Gabriel said, his voice taking on a harder edge. "I am asking you directly. What do you know?" Maria was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your mother called me to her study 3 weeks before she died. She was very ill by then, very weak, but her mind was still sharp. She told me something that has haunted me every day since. She said that she had made a terrible mistake, that she had discovered something about your brother that terrified her, something about his involvement with people who were not safe, people involved in criminal enterprises." Gabriel's heart began to race. Rafael had criminal connections. This was information he did not have. This was new. "She said she was changing her will to protect you," Maria continued. "She said that if Rafael received the entire fortune, it would only make him more dangerous, more powerful. She was trying to save you from becoming entangled in his criminal world. She was trying to protect you by limiting his access to capital. But that does not make sense," Gabriel said. "Why did she not simply refuse to give him anything? Why the complicated distribution?" "Because she knew Rafael would never accept being disinherited outright," Maria said. "She knew he would challenge the will. She knew he would claim mental incapacity or undue influence. By giving him 95%, by making the distribution seem logical and generous, she thought she was protecting the will from legal challenge. She thought she was keeping you safe while appearing to favor Rafael." Gabriel felt something shift inside him. His understanding of his mother's intentions suddenly transformed. What had seemed like betrayal, like favoritism toward Rafael, was actually an act of protection. Constanza had been trying to save Gabriel from being destroyed by association with Rafael's criminal activities. "What else did she tell you?" Gabriel demanded. "She said Rafael had been approached by a man named Cesar Oliveira, a drug trafficking boss from the favelas. Rafael had become involved in money laundering operations. Your mother was terrified that federal agents would eventually investigate, and that the entire family would be implicated. She was trying to create distance between you and Rafael's criminal enterprise. She was trying to protect you by ensuring you would not have control over large sums of money that Rafael could use for illegal purposes." Pause here and consider. Could your own mother have orchestrated the entire situation? Could Constanza have hired the men who extracted Gabriel from prison? Could she have arranged for Rafael's arrest to protect her youngest son from becoming a criminal like his twin? But Constanza had died years ago. She could not have arranged Gabriel's rescue. She could not have had the resources from beyond the grave, unless she had planned for someone else to complete her work after her death. "Is there anything else?" Gabriel asked. "Anything else she told you to tell me?" Maria hesitated. Then she stood up and walked to a painting on the wall. She removed it, revealing a small safe hidden behind it. Using a key from around her neck, she opened the safe and withdrew a sealed envelope addressed in his mother's handwriting. "For my son Gabriel, to be opened only if Rafael has died or if the truth comes to light," Maria read aloud. Gabriel's hands trembled as he took the envelope. He opened it and began to read his mother's final letter, written in her own elegant script. The letter explained everything. Constanza had discovered Rafael's criminal connections through a private investigator. She had learned about the drug trafficking, the money laundering, the connections to organized crime syndicates. Terrified, she had made arrangements with a trusted lawyer and several former military contacts to protect Gabriel if something ever happened to her. She wrote, "My beloved Gabriel, if you are reading this, it means my plan has succeeded. It means that Rafael's criminal activities have finally caught up with him. It means that my trusted associates have found a way to save you from the life he has chosen. Rafael was always the weak one, the envious one, the one who could not accept that life requires work and discipline. He chose the path of crime. He chose to betray everything our family stands for. I have arranged for your protection, for your eventual freedom. Trust in the people who come for you. They are bound by oath to complete my final wishes." Gabriel read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down his face. His mother had loved him so much that she had orchestrated an entire protection plan that would only activate after her death. She had known her sons' souls. She had understood the eternal cycle of their struggle, and she had tried, with all her dying breath, to save one of them from destruction. "There is more," Maria said quietly. "Your mother left instructions for a spiritual guide, a monk from a monastery in the mountains of Tibet. She said that this man would eventually come to you with a message. She said he would be the key to understanding the true nature of what had transpired. She said he would help you understand the karmic debt that has bound you and your brother across lifetimes. A monk, a spiritual guide." Gabriel felt as though he had entered a realm beyond rational explanation. His mother, this practical woman of business and finance, had been as spiritual as she had been pragmatic. She had understood something about the nature of souls that transcended material wealth. "Where is this monk now?" Gabriel asked. "I do not know," Maria said, "but your mother told me that when the moment was right, he would find you. She said he would come to you at the moment when you were most desperate, most confused, most in need of spiritual truth. She said his arrival would signal the beginning of your true redemption." Gabriel stood and walked to the window, looking out at the family estate grounds. Somewhere in the world, Raphael was still in prison. Somewhere in the world, there was a monk waiting to deliver his mother's final spiritual message. Somewhere in the world, there was a conspiracy that reached beyond the material into the realm of souls and karmic cycles, and Gabriel himself was trapped in the middle, living a lie, pretending to be his brother, not knowing which path led to truth and which path led only deeper into deception. The question now became, not who was guilty of fraud, but something far more profound. Could a soul be redeemed through deception? Could justice be served if the guilty walked free while the innocent suffered in prison? Could there be a higher justice that operated on principles unknown to the law? The monk from the mountain. Karmic revelation. 3 weeks after reading his mother's letter, Gabriel received an unexpected visitor. A man appeared at the family estate gates on a Thursday evening. He wore simple orange robes, had a shaved head, and carried nothing but a small canvas bag. When Maria informed Gabriel of this visitor, she said only 4 words: "The monk has arrived." Gabriel's heart began to race. He dismissed all other business and met the monk in his private study. The man appeared to be in his 60s, with eyes that held a depth of wisdom that seemed to transcend this single lifetime. His name was Tenzin, and he spoke Portuguese with a slight accent, suggesting many years of spiritual practice had superseded his native language. "Your mother arranged for my arrival," Tenzin said, settling into a chair across from Gabriel without any formal greeting. "Constanza and I corresponded for 3 years before her death. She was a remarkable woman, spiritually advanced. She understood truths that most people spend lifetimes seeking. She understood about my brother," Gabriel said carefully, "about his nature, his criminality. She understood far more than that," Tenzin replied. "She understood the true nature of you and your brother's souls. She understood the cycle that has bound you together across many lifetimes. She asked me to come to you at this precise moment, when the veil between deception and truth begins to thin, when you are most ready to understand." Gabriel leaned forward. "What cycle? What are you talking about?" Tenzin closed his eyes for a moment as if accessing information from some invisible source. When he opened them again, he spoke with absolute certainty. "In ancient Rome, roughly 2,300 years ago, there were 2 soldiers, brothers in arms not by blood but by the deep bonds that form between men who fight together. One brother, the elder, held a position of authority. The other was subordinate. The subordinate grew consumed with envy. He could not accept that his equal in intelligence and strength was ranked above him. This envy festered for years, poisoning everything between them. Finally, in a moment of rage during a battle, the subordinate struck down his superior officer and claimed his position. But he was discovered. Both brothers were executed for the crime. And in that moment of shared death, something extraordinary happened." Tenzin paused, letting the narrative settle into Gabriel's consciousness. "What happened?" Gabriel asked, his voice barely audible. "They made a pact, an unconscious spiritual agreement forged in the moment of mutual destruction. They vowed that they would find each other in future lifetimes and resolve their conflict. They vowed to break the cycle of envy and betrayal. In each lifetime since then, They have returned as brothers. And in each lifetime, the dynamic of envy and betrayal has been recreated. Different circumstances, different crimes, different consequences, but always the same fundamental pattern. One brother destroying the other out of envy, both suffering immensely as a result. Gabriel felt something stirring inside him. Recognition, understanding dawning like sunrise over dark water. How many lifetimes? He asked. This is your 9th lifetime together as brothers, Tenzin said. In each previous lifetime you have failed to break the cycle. In each previous lifetime the conflict has deepened the karmic debt between you. This lifetime is your final opportunity. This is the lifetime where redemption is possible. This is the lifetime where one of you can finally choose compassion over revenge, forgiveness over vengeance. What about Raphael? Gabriel demanded. He is the one who committed the crime. He is the one who betrayed me. He is the one who sent me to prison. Raphael is also a victim, Tenzin said quietly. He is a victim of the same karmic pattern you are both trapped within. His envy consumed him. His need to assert dominance over you drove him to destroy you. But in destroying you, he also destroyed himself. He is now imprisoned not just in the physical prison, but in the prison of guilt and remorse. Raphael has spent these 8 years in prison, regretting every decision. Raphael has been slowly crushed by the weight of what he has done. A pause here and consider. If Raphael truly repents, if he truly understands the suffering he has caused, does that change the nature of justice? Does redemption require punishment? Or can it come through the choice to restore what was taken? How do you know this about Raphael? Gabriel asked skeptically. Because I have visited him, Tenzin said. Your mother asked me to counsel your brother as well. I have spent 4 sessions with Raphael in his prison cell. I have witnessed his transformation. He is not the same man who committed the crime. He is a man reborn in spirit, if not in body. Tenzin stood and walked to the window, gazing out at the Sao Paulo skyline. Your mother had a vision in her final days, Tenzin continued. She saw both of you. She saw the karmic cycle that bound you. She understood that the only way to break it was through an act of supreme sacrifice. She understood that one of you would have to choose to forgive. One of you would have to choose to restore what was taken. One of you would have to break the pattern of revenge that has defined your souls across centuries. You are saying I should forgive Raphael? Gabriel asked, his voice filled with conflict. After everything he did? After the 10 years I spent in prison? I'm saying that forgiveness is the only path to your own liberation, Tenzin replied. Raphael is still in prison. Raphael is still suffering. Raphael will still be suffering when he is an old man, unless something changes, unless someone offers him the possibility of redemption. Gabriel stood and paced the room, his mind spinning with implications. If what Tenzin said was true, if they were bound by an eternal karmic cycle, then revenge would only perpetuate the cycle. The only way to break it would be to offer Raphael something he did not deserve, mercy. There is something else, Tenzin said. Your mother has left instructions for what must happen next. She has arranged for a final act of redemption, an act that will free both you and your brother from the karmic debt. What kind of act? Gabriel asked. Raphael will contact you, Tenzin said. Soon. He has been preparing a letter. He will confess everything. He will restore the inheritance to you. He will use his remaining years in prison to atone for what he has done. But more importantly, he will ask you to take his place, to live his life, to become him in the eyes of your family. Your mother understood that this would be the ultimate test. Can you accept your brother's life as compensation for the one he stole from you? Gabriel felt the weight of this question settle upon him like an enormous burden. And if I do? Gabriel asked. If I take his place? Then Raphael will be free to pursue spiritual redemption in ways that a man in prison cannot, Tenzin said. He will disappear. He will go to the monasteries of Tibet. He will spend the rest of his life in meditation and spiritual practice, working to purify the karma he has created, and you will be free to live your life as your brother, inheriting what was taken from you, while knowing that your brother is working toward redemption rather than rot in the darkness of revenge. This sounds like a fairy tale, Gabriel said bitterly. This sounds like spiritual justification for letting a criminal escape his punishment. It is neither a fairy tale nor an escape, Tenzin replied firmly. It is the most difficult form of punishment. Imagine spending decades in spiritual practice, confronting every moment the suffering you have caused, Imagine meditating on your crimes for 8 hours each day for the rest of your natural life. Is that not a more profound punishment than sitting in a prison cell where you can blame the system, blame your family, blame bad luck? Is that not a deeper form of justice? Gabriel sat back down, overwhelmed. His mother had orchestrated this entire scenario. His mother had foreseen his release from prison. His mother had arranged for this monk to appear with this revelation. His mother had designed a test of his character that transcended the material world and entered the realm of spiritual redemption. "I need time," Gabriel said finally. "I need time to think about this." "You have 3 days," Tenzin said. "That is when Raphael's letter will arrive. That is when you will be forced to decide whether to accept the role that your mother has prepared for you. After that, the window for redemption closes. The cycle will continue for another lifetime." Tenzin stood to leave. "One final thing," the monk said at the doorway. "Your mother wanted you to know that she appears to Raphael in his dreams. She tells him that the only redemption is restitution. She tells him that the karma can only be broken if he chooses sacrifice rather than revenge. She tells him that their souls are finally ready to evolve beyond this eternal war. She tells him that in the next lifetime, you will be born as brothers again, but this time, without the curse of envy, this time with love." The letter, Raphael's confession and final sacrifice. The letter arrived exactly 3 days after Tenzin's departure. Gabriel found it on his desk, placed there by Maria with no explanation. His name was written on the envelope in handwriting he recognized immediately, his own, but not quite. The letters were slightly more angular, slightly less refined, the handwriting of his brother, trying to imitate his own writing. Gabriel opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a letter of extraordinary length written on prison stationery. It was dated 6 weeks earlier, meaning Raphael had been writing this confession for weeks, pouring out everything to paper before sending it. Gabriel began to read. "To Gabriel," the letter began. "I do not know if this letter will ever reach you. I do not know if you are still alive. I do not know if Tenzin succeeded in locating you, but I must write this. Whether you ever read it or not, I must commit these words to paper. I must confess everything, not to the authorities, not to the courts, but to you, to the brother I destroyed." Gabriel's heart pounded as he continued reading. "For years, I told myself that I was justified. I told myself that you had never deserved the inheritance. I told myself that Mother favored you over me. I told myself that life had been unfair to me, that you had always had advantages that I lacked. I constructed an entire mythology of victimhood around myself, and I used that mythology to justify the most heinous crime I could conceive: stealing your identity, stealing your future, stealing your life." The letter went on to detail everything, every technical element of the facial recognition fraud, every moment of planning, every calculation. Raphael wrote about the criminal connections he had cultivated, the technology he had purchased, the bribes he had paid. He wrote about the moment he realized the plan had worked, when your 5% had transferred successfully, and then the 95% had been stolen through the spoofed biometric verification. "I was ecstatic," Raphael wrote. "I felt like I had finally won, finally proven myself superior to you, finally taken what should have been mine." But that ecstasy lasted exactly 3 days. Raphael then described the arrest. He claimed that the drug trafficking charges were real, that he had become involved with organized crime figures to launder the stolen inheritance, that he had accumulated massive quantities of cocaine and heroin as part of a larger trafficking operation, that he had done all of this without understanding the severity of the consequences. "I thought I was invincible," Raphael confessed. "I thought that with $50 million, I could buy my way out of any legal consequences. I thought money could solve everything, just as it had solved everything in our childhood. I was spectacularly wrong." But then came the section of the letter that made Gabriel stop reading and simply stare at the words in disbelief. Raphael wrote, "I know who had you arrested. I know who orchestrated the facial recognition fraud against you. I know who set up the entire conspiracy that destroyed your life. And I am telling you now in this letter, so that you will understand the full truth of what happened." Gabriel felt his pulse accelerating. Who had done this? "It was Dr. Silvio Costa," Raphael wrote. "The attorney who read Mother's will, the man who helped Mother with her estate planning, the man who Mother trusted completely. It was Costa who orchestrated everything. It was Costa who purchased the facial recognition spoofing technology. It was Costa who hired the criminals who arrested you and framed you for my crimes. It was Costa who arranged for me to be arrested for drug trafficking. Costa did this because Mother paid him to do it. Gabriel reread this section 3 times, certain he had misunderstood. Mother, Raphael continued, discovered my criminal connections through her investigators. She learned about the drug trafficking operations I had become involved with through organized crime syndicates. She was terrified that I would destroy the entire family through my criminal activities. So she hired Costa, a man with deep connections to federal law enforcement, to orchestrate a plan that would neutralize both of us simultaneously. Costa was instructed to frame you for my crimes. Knowing that the facial recognition evidence was unimpeachable, you would go to prison. Meanwhile, Costa would arrange for me to be arrested for my actual drug trafficking crimes, ensuring that I would also be imprisoned. Mother's logic was brutal but clear. If both of us were incarcerated, we could neither continue our criminal activities nor destroy the family through our actions. Gabriel set the letter down. His mother, his protective spiritual mother, had orchestrated his imprisonment. She had sacrificed him to save the family. But wait, Raphael continued. What Mother did not anticipate was that Costa would extend his plan far beyond her original instructions. After her death, Costa continued to profit from the situation. He has been involved in the drug trafficking operations himself. He has been using the family money to launder criminal proceeds. He has been using our imprisonment as leverage to expand his own criminal empire. I only discovered this recently, when another inmate shared information with me. Information that comes from organized crime figures on the outside. Costa has become one of the most powerful money launderers in Brazil. He has become fabulously wealthy through the criminal enterprises he has orchestrated. And he has kept me imprisoned and kept you imprisoned to protect his own interests. Gabriel felt the entire narrative shifting beneath him. His mother had not orchestrated his imprisonment out of malice. She had orchestrated it as an act of desperation to save him from a life of crime. But in doing so, she had handed both brothers over to a criminal mastermind who had profited enormously from their suffering. The letter continued, I have spent these 8 years in prison slowly coming to understand the spiritual truth that our mother tried to teach us. I have meditated on my crimes. I have confronted the suffering I have caused. I have understood finally the karmic cycle that has bound you and me across lifetimes, and I have made a decision. I am going to restore everything I stole. I have been communicating with Tenzin, the monk that Mother arranged to counsel us both. Tenzin has helped me understand that the only path to redemption is through complete restitution. I cannot undo the years you spent in prison. I cannot restore the time that was stolen from you, but I can restore the inheritance. I can transfer every penny of the stolen fortune back to you. More than that, I am going to disappear. Tenzin has made arrangements with people I do not fully understand, people who work outside the normal legal system, people who will extract me from this prison and transport me to a monastery in Tibet, where I can spend the rest of my life in spiritual practice and atonement. But here is where I am asking you for something that I have no right to ask. I am asking you to take my place. I am asking you to live your life as Raphael Sterling. I am asking you to inherit what should have been yours. I am asking you to step into my identity and my role in the family while I disappear into spiritual exile. Gabriel, I am asking you to do this not because it is just or fair. I am asking you because it is the only way that the karmic cycle can be broken. It is the only way that we can both be redeemed. If you refuse, I will spend decades in prison rotting in my guilt, and you will spend decades haunted by your injustice. If you accept, we both have the opportunity to move forward. You will have your life restored. I will have the opportunity to purify my soul through spiritual practice. I do not expect you to accept this. I do not expect you to forgive me. I do not expect anything from you except that you read this letter and understand that I am truly sorry, that I understand the harm I have caused, that I am willing to sacrifice everything to make it right. The arrangements have already been made. Dr. Costa believes that both of us will remain imprisoned. He believes he can continue his criminal operations using our family's name and resources, but he does not know that help is coming. Help in the form of the monks and spiritual practitioners who have sworn to complete Mother's final wishes. By the time you read this letter, the rescue operation will already be in motion. The men who came for you will be coming for me as well. Within 30 days, both of us will be free from prison, but only you will be free to reclaim your life. I will be free to escape into exile. The choice is yours, Gabriel. Accept your life as Raphael Sterling, and live with the knowledge that your brother is atoning for his crimes through decades of spiritual practice in Tibet. Or reject this offer, expose the truth, send me back to prison, ensure that neither of us achieves redemption. But know this, if you choose revenge over forgiveness, the cycle will continue. We will return in future lifetimes, and we will destroy each other again. The letter was signed simply, Raphael. Gabriel sat in complete silence for a long time. His mind was attempting to process multiple revelations simultaneously. His mother had orchestrated his imprisonment. Dr. Costa was a criminal mastermind profiting from their suffering. Raphael had spent years seeking genuine redemption. The monk had been sent to facilitate a karmic breakthrough. Everything he thought he understood about his situation was false or incomplete. Pause here and consider. Is Raphael's confession genuine? Is this an elaborate deception? Is Raphael truly seeking redemption? Or is this another layer of betrayal? How can Gabriel possibly trust his brother after everything that has occurred? The letter concluded with final instructions. Raphael explained that Gabriel would receive a visit from Tenzin within 7 days. Tenzin would provide him with access to the hidden financial accounts where Raphael had deposited the stolen inheritance. Over the following month, Gabriel would gradually be integrated into Raphael's life. New documentation would be prepared. Cosmetic procedures would be performed to make Gabriel's current altered appearance gradually shift back toward Raphael's facial structure so that the transition would be imperceptible to the family. By the time I disappear, Raphael wrote, the family will believe that you have simply decided to live differently, that prison has changed you, that you are now a quieter, more reflective version of yourself. They will accept you as their Raphael, because you have already been living among them as Raphael for weeks. Gabriel realized with a start that he had already been living as Raphael. He had already fooled Maria. He had already confused his siblings with his different mannerisms. The transition was already underway. The only remaining question was whether he would accept it, or whether he would expose the entire conspiracy and send both brothers back into darkness. The acceptance. Gabriel becomes Raphael permanently. Gabriel sat alone in his study for 3 days after reading Raphael's letter. He did not eat. He did not sleep. He simply sat in the darkness, contemplating the impossible choice before him. Accept the deception and live his brother's life, or expose the truth and condemn both of them to continued suffering. On the 4th day, he made his decision. He called for Maria and instructed her to contact Tenzin. The monk arrived that evening with several documents and financial records. Together, they began the process of Gabriel's final transformation into Raphael Sterling. Cosmetic procedures were completed to shift Gabriel's appearance gradually back toward Raphael's facial structure. New bank documents were prepared. Access to the hidden accounts containing the stolen inheritance was transferred to Gabriel's new identity. The family began to notice the changes immediately. Patricia, the eldest sister, commented at dinner one evening, "Raphael, you seem so different lately. Are you sure the rehabilitation program is going well? You barely eat. You seem contemplative, almost spiritual. Prison teaches you to value what truly matters," Gabriel replied carefully, using the cover story that had been prepared. "The material things we chase, they are meaningless. I have decided that I want to live differently. I want to focus on family, on spirituality, on making amends for my past mistakes." Patricia studied him with deep suspicion, but she did not press further. Antonio, the investment banker, noticed that Gabriel was making unusual decisions regarding the family's finances. He was consolidating certain accounts. He was liquidating some investments. He was transferring funds to charitable organizations focused on prison reform and rehabilitation. "Raphael, what are you doing with the family money?" Antonio asked directly during a business meeting. "These charitable transfers are substantial, millions of reais. Without board approval, you cannot simply redistribute family assets." "Our mother believed in giving back," Gabriel said quietly. "She believed that wealth without compassion is a curse. I am honoring her memory by fulfilling what she would have wanted." "Our mother is dead," Antonio replied sharply, "and you are acting very strangely." But Gabriel was unmoved by his brother's objection. He continued his quiet work of restoring the inheritance to its rightful place, not to himself as Gabriel, but to Raphael's accounts, where it would be accessible to Gabriel in his new identity. The bookkeeping was careful. The transfers were methodical. Everything was arranged so that when the final piece fell into place, the family would have no choice but to accept Gabriel as Raphael. Then came the moment that Gabriel had been waiting for, the extraction. Tenzin arrived at the estate on a Tuesday evening with 4 other monks dressed in simple orange robes. They came quietly, respectfully, asking to see Senor Raphael for an important spiritual matter. The family was confused but did not object. Gabriel excused himself and went to meet with the monks. In his private study, Tenzin explained that the time had come. Raphael's rescue was happening tonight. The federal authorities had arranged a transfer of a prisoner to another facility. During that transport, the vehicle carrying Raphael would be intercepted by people working outside the normal legal system. Raphael would be extracted and transported to a monastery in Tibet, where he would begin his spiritual redemption. How is this possible? Gabriel asked. The federal authorities would never allow this. The federal authorities do not know, Tenzin replied. There are people, powerful people, who work in the shadows to complete the wishes of the deceased. Your mother was connected to such people. She had arranged everything years ago, waiting for the moment when circumstances would allow for her plan to be executed. Gabriel understood then the full scope of what his mother had orchestrated. She had not just hired Costa to frame him and imprison Raphael. She had also arranged for their eventual liberation. She had orchestrated both their destructions and their potential redemptions. She had been playing the long game across years and decades, always with the goal of breaking the karmic cycle that bound them. That night, as Gabriel lay in bed pretending to sleep, he heard the sound of vehicles approaching the estate. Tenzin entered his room and gestured for him to come. Together they went to the study where a man in prison guard's uniform stood waiting. This was not actually a guard, but rather someone connected to the network that had extracted Gabriel from prison years earlier. The man held up a computer tablet and showed Gabriel footage of a prison transport vehicle being intercepted on a highway. 2 vehicles had blocked the road. The transport vehicle was forced to stop. Guards were subdued professionally and efficiently. A prisoner was removed and placed in an unmarked vehicle that sped away into the darkness. Your brother is now free, the man said simply. In 48 hours, he will be in Tibet at a monastery where he will spend the rest of his life in spiritual practice and atonement. In 48 hours, you will be the only sterling brother that your family knows. Gabriel felt something shift inside him. The moment of his full transformation into Raphael had arrived. He was no longer a man pretending to be his brother. He was now completely and irrevocably Raphael Sterling. The next morning, Gabriel called the family together in the main dining room. Maria was also present. Patricia, Antonio, Lucia, and Marcelo sat at the long table, confused about why they had been summoned so early. I have something to tell you, Gabriel began, his voice steady, but carrying an undertone of emotion. Last night, Raphael escaped from prison. Gasps of shock echoed through the room. Patricia stood up, her face going pale. What? How is that possible? Federal security, the guards. I do not know the details, Gabriel said, which was technically true. But I received a message this morning. Raphael has been extracted by people who were loyal to our mother. He has been taken to a monastery in Tibet, where he will spend the rest of his life in spiritual practice. He has asked me to convey a message to you all. Gabriel pulled out an envelope that had been prepared by Tenzin. Inside was a letter supposedly written by Raphael, though it had been crafted by the monks based on what Raphael had communicated about his wishes. Gabriel read aloud, "To my family, I am writing to you from a place beyond your understanding, a place where I will spend my remaining years atoning for the harm I have caused. I have chosen to leave behind the material world. I have chosen to pursue spiritual redemption through meditation and monastic practice. Mother understood this path. Mother prepared for this possibility. I ask you to accept my choice and to remember me not as a criminal, but as a soul attempting to evolve beyond the cycles of greed and revenge that have destroyed our family for generations." Lucia began to cry. Marcelo looked confused. Patricia's face was unreadable. Antonio looked angry. "This is insane," Antonio said. "We need to contact the authorities. We need to report this escape." "To what end?" Gabriel asked calmly. "Raphael is gone. Pursuing him through legal channels will only bring shame and scandal to our family. Mother's wish was for us to accept his choice and move forward. I believe we should honor her memory by respecting that wish. Pause here and consider. Is Gabriel protecting his brother out of genuine forgiveness? Or is he complicit in helping a criminal escape justice? Can both things be true simultaneously?" The family fell silent. One by one, they seemed to accept the reality of the situation. Raphael was gone. They could either accept it and move forward, or they could spend years pursuing a legal battle that would only damage the family further. Over the following weeks, the family gradually adjusted to Raphael's absence. Gabriel, living as Raphael, became increasingly involved in the family's charitable work. He redirected more of the family's wealth toward social causes. He funded programs for prison reform and rehabilitation. He established a scholarship in his mother's name for children from underprivileged families. The family noticed his change, but they eventually accepted it as the result of his time in prison and his spiritual awakening. They did not question his new personality, his different values, or his altered priorities. They accepted him as Raphael, reborn through suffering and spiritual practice. And Gabriel, living his brother's life, never told them the truth. He never revealed that he was actually Gabriel, living in Raphael's identity. He never explained that their brother Raphael had been rescued from prison by mysterious monks and transported to Tibet. He never disclosed that the family's fortune, which had been stolen through elaborate facial recognition fraud, was now being used to undo the harm that had created it. The secrets remained buried. The deception remained complete. The karmic cycle had been broken not through exposure of truth, but through acceptance of a beautiful lie. The moral lesson: greed and family destruction across lifetimes. Years passed. Gabriel, living as Raphael, continued his quiet work of rebuilding the family through spiritual practice and charitable giving. The wealth that had been stolen through betrayal was slowly redirected toward causes that truly mattered: education for the poor, healthcare for the forgotten, prison reform programs that offered genuine rehabilitation rather than simply warehousing human suffering. The other family members eventually adjusted to Raphael's transformed personality. They accepted that his time in prison had fundamentally changed him. They never discovered the truth. They never knew that the man they called Raphael was actually Gabriel. They never understood that the family had unknowingly participated in one of history's most elaborate spiritual redemptions. But the deeper truth remained hidden in plain sight. The destruction of the Sterling family was not caused by money.
Money was merely the amplifier. The real destruction came from greed that had been cultivated across centuries. The real destruction came from the refusal to forgive. The real destruction came from the inability of two souls to break free from cycles of envy and betrayal that had defined their existence across multiple lifetimes. Constanza understood this truth. She had recognized that her twin sons were trapped in an eternal pattern.
She had seen that material solutions would never resolve spiritual problems. She had understood that the only path forward required not justice in the legal sense, but redemption in the spiritual sense. And so she had orchestrated everything from beyond the grave. Her will was not just a legal document. It was a spiritual blueprint designed to force two souls to confront their fundamental nature and make a choice. The choice between revenge and forgiveness, between punishment and redemption, between perpetuating the cycle or finally breaking it. Consider this fundamental truth. Families are destroyed not by poverty, but by greed masquerading as ambition. Families are destroyed not by lack of opportunity, but by the inability to appreciate what has been given. Families are destroyed not by bad luck, but by the refusal to see other family members as human beings worthy of compassion rather than competition. In the Sterling family, Raphael's crime began not when he committed the fraud, but years earlier when he allowed himself to be consumed by envy. His envy festered. His envy grew. His envy whispered to him that he deserved more than his brother, that he was entitled to take what had not been given, that the rules of morality and law did not apply to him because he had been wronged. But envy is a poison that only harms the person who carries it. Envy is a fire that only burns the one who holds the torch. Raphael discovered this truth only when sitting in a prison cell, with years of his life stretching before him. Only then, when absolutely everything had been taken from him, did he finally understand. And Gabriel, the victim of his brother's greed, discovered something equally profound. He discovered that forgiveness is not weakness, that choosing compassion in response to betrayal is not accepting injustice, that allowing his brother the possibility of redemption is not the same as condoning his crimes. Gabriel discovered that true strength lies in the ability to break cycles of revenge, not in perpetuating them. The wealth that had been at the center of this entire tragedy was ultimately meaningless. Money could not repair the damage of betrayal. Money could not heal the wound of 10 years in prison. Money could not restore what had been stolen. But the act of redirecting that stolen wealth toward helping others transformed it from a symbol of greed into an instrument of redemption. Every school built with family money was a monument to forgiveness. Every prisoner given a second chance through family-funded rehabilitation programs was a testament to the possibility of redemption. Every child given an education they would otherwise never have received was a living embodiment of the spiritual truth that Constanza and Tenzin and Gabriel all understood, that our greatest mistakes contain within them our greatest opportunities for growth. The cycle was broken not through punishment but through sacrifice, not through legal justice, but through spiritual redemption. Not through the triumph of one brother over another, but through the choice of both brothers to step outside the game of competition and victory. This is the lesson that families throughout the world desperately need to hear. Your relatives are not your competitors. Your siblings are not your enemies. The wealth that passes between generations should never become the currency of betrayal. Money should never be the measure of love. Success should never be defined by how much you have compared to how much your brother has. The Sterling family's story is a story that repeats itself across generations, across cultures, across centuries. It is the story of brothers and sisters destroyed by greed. It is the story of fortunes that become curses. It is the story of families that could have been sources of profound love, but instead became battlegrounds of competition and envy. But it is also a story of redemption. It is a story that proves that even the deepest betrayals can be healed through genuine remorse and forgiveness. It is a story that demonstrates that the cycle can be broken if even one person chooses compassion over revenge. It is a story that reveals the possibility of spiritual evolution, even in the darkest moments of human weakness. Final reflection and call to action. And so the story of the twin souls ends where it began, with a single choice. The choice to forgive. The choice to transform greed into service. The choice to break an ancient cycle of betrayal and revenge. The choice to allow redemption rather than demand punishment. Gabriel lives today as Raphael Sterling. He wakes each morning knowing that he is living a lie. He knows that his family believes he is his brother. He knows that his true identity died the day Raphael was extracted from prison. He knows that he will never tell them the truth. And he has made peace with this deception because the alternative would have been far more destructive. Somewhere in the monasteries of Tibet, Raphael is spending his days in meditation and spiritual practice. He is confronting the suffering he caused. He is working toward genuine transformation. He is serving a sentence far more profound than any prison could impose. The sentence of facing his own soul every moment of every day for the rest of his natural life. And Constanza, from whatever realm of existence she inhabits beyond this physical world, finally rests knowing that her work is complete. Her twin sons have finally broken the cycle that has bound them across lifetimes. They have finally achieved what centuries of different lives could not produce. Genuine transformation through the choice of one to save the other. But here is what you must understand. This story is not just about a family in Brazil. This story is about your family. This story is about the cycles of greed and betrayal that repeat themselves in families across the entire world. This story is about the choice that each person must make. Will you perpetuate the cycle, or will you break it? If you have a sibling you do not speak to because of money, if you have a family member you despise because of inheritance disputes, if you have allowed greed to poison your relationships with the people who share your blood and your history, then you are living inside the story right now. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Will you choose revenge? Will you choose to hold on to bitterness about the unfairness of how wealth was distributed? Will you spend your remaining years fighting for justice in courts and drawing up documents and building legal cases against people you once loved? Or will you choose the harder path, the path of forgiveness, the path of recognizing that your family member is also trapped in cycles they did not create, the path of understanding that money is not what truly matters, the path of breaking generational patterns of betrayal and competition? We leave you with these questions to contemplate. In this entire story, who do you believe was truly the most pitiable character? Richard Sterling, who allowed his greed to destroy his entire life. Gabriel Sterling, who was imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. Raphael Sterling, who committed the crime and then spent years atoning. Constanza, who had to orchestrate such an elaborate spiritual intervention from beyond death. Or perhaps Dr. Silvio Costa, the man who profited most from the family's destruction and yet never appeared directly in this narrative. If you discovered this conspiracy yourself, in your own family, what would you do? Would you demand legal justice? Would you accept spiritual redemption? Would you choose to forgive? Or would you choose to prosecute? And most importantly, did you figure out who was truly guilty before the final revelation? Or were you fooled by the red herrings? At what moment did you begin to suspect the truth? Which character did you think was the culprit before you discovered it was someone else entirely? We invite you to comment below with your answers to these questions. Tell us who you thought was the villain. Tell us what you would have done in Gabriel's position. Tell us whether you believe the family should have been told the truth about Raphael's escape, or whether Constanza's strategy of benevolent deception was justified. And if this story moved you, if it made you think about your own family and the cycles of greed and betrayal that may be operating in your own life, then please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another story about the hidden crimes, the secret betrayals, and the destructive secrets that families try to hide from the world. Share this video with someone you love. Share it with someone you have not spoken to in years because of money disputes. Share it with someone who needs to hear that redemption is possible. Share it with someone who needs to understand that breaking cycles of revenge might be the most courageous thing a person can ever do. Because in the end, this is not a story about twins. This is not a story about Brazil or crime or inheritance. This is a story about the human capacity to choose between revenge and forgiveness. This is a story about whether we will perpetuate the cycles of destruction that define human history, or whether we finally, after centuries of repetition, will choose to break them. The choice, as it has always been, is yours.